too young to be on drugs, but something's wrong with this kid. We haven't figured it out yet, Peter. Rounding third. Meanwhile, the third base coach is on his fucking cell phone. This game has been a fucking disaster. The score is 27-3. None of these kids can play a lick of baseball. The ball is shooting around the infield right now. It's been touched by every single player. No threat of being thrown out at home, and he's safe. Wow.
Good evening and welcome to the Big Bad Broadcast. We are live every week on www.strongisland.com, and that's on Strong Island Entertainment app on your Roku, or you can watch us on YouTube. You can watch us anywhere. We're everywhere.
Yes.
And or you can watch us on our own website, which is www.thebbradio.com. And we got playoff week for the baseball this week. And we have our regular, we got a great show today. I'm really excited. But we also have Mike Grief.
Yes, baseball. You bet, man. We're pumping iron for the baseball, yes. For the referees. That's for John. Referees. A big baseball fan. Where's the referee there? He was traveling.
I made one mistake.
That was a traveling.
I called the umpire a referee.
Hey, listen, nobody's less of a sports fan than me. MMA is the only thing I used to watch boxing. Now it's MMA only because I just love watching dudes beat the shit out of each other.
There you go. It's very nice. A lot of love.
That's a
and
love.
We have Craig Mitchell, who's going to take us home because he's a Mets fan. And
the Mets.
Yeah,
the Mets won this week. They won.
Yeah.
Well, they're all playing golf. That's why they won. Thank you so much. I'm here all week. Try to be old.
That little kid baseball is the funniest thing ever.
Oh my God, yeah.
I coached Little League baseball when my son was little.
Oh, you did?
And in the middle
of the game.
You
look like the coach we had.
In the middle of the game.
Dave, yell at the referee.
The umpire came up to me and said, "Hey, Les, what's going on in the outfield?" And I go, "What?" And I look, we had this heavy set kid who looked like every Bad News Bears movie, that one kid. And I look out and the kid's laying in the outfield with his baseball glove underneath his head like a pillow. He's just looking up into the space. And he goes, "Go find out what's wrong with that kid." So I walk out across the field and all the parents are laughing. I walk up to the kid and I go, "Hey, Bobby, what's going on?" And he goes, "Nothing." And I go, "You're laying in the field half asleep. What are you doing?" He goes, I'm holding out for a shoe deal, coach." And I was like, "What?" And he was kind of serious. And I go, "Well, you can't hold out. You got to get up." And he got up. And then after that, I went back and the ref goes, "Was there an injury problem?" I go, "Nah, he's just holding out for a shoe deal." And everyone started laughing. And then from that point on, that's what the kid's name was for the next 3 years. Shoe deal.
That kid was me. That was me, man. I tell you, I was that overweight kid there that was I did the minimum, and of course they always put the fat kid's always the catcher, which was fine with me because I didn't have to move much,
Fat kids, that's just like in the Bad News Bears. It was a fat.
And he got to be violent too, because when somebody would run into a home plate and they'd run into you, I'd always, give him a shot. You weren't supposed to.
Except you had brass knuckles. It wasn't fair.
Wow.
You're not going to score.
Yeah.
When I used to work in the Bronx as an X-ray technician in the emergency room, the worst day of the year to work was Bat Day at Yankee Stadium.
Bat Day. I love Bat Day. Give 30,000 freaking crazy New Yorkers bats and let them travel on the subway.
And beer.
Bats and beer.
It was like the movie The Wanderers. The Warriors. The Warriors. We'd traveling around just looking. I'm sure there was no crime committed on that day.
Don't fuck with the Wongs.
Don't fuck with the Wongs. I'm sure there was no crime committed on that day. You know what? Thank God the statutes of limitations have run out because they're probably still looking for me for a bat day.
I went to one bat day at Yankee Stadium. I've never been more embarrassed because I misunderstood. I went dressed as Robin. It was really embarrassing.
Yeah. Them tights will never be the same, Robin.
That's for sure.
So I had this old guy that came in the hospital once, and we're going to get to our guest. This old guy, and the hospital is pretty close to Yankee Stadium, and he says to me, "You want to know how I met the great Babe Ruth?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "The great Babe Ruth. Me and my friend Jaime were underneath the L one morning at 5:45 a.m. picking up our newspapers, and we hear rat tat tat, rat tat tat. And we look around, and who comes around the corner in a Stutz Bearcat and a raccoon coat?"
A raccoon coat.
And we look and we go, "It's Babe Ruth. It's the great Bambino, the Sultan of SWAT." And he stops at a light, and we run up, and we jump on the running boards, and we go, "Babe Ruth." And he looks at us and goes, "Get the fuck off my car, you little bastards." And that is how I met the great Babe Ruth.
And and baseball players just haven't changed. They're all the same still.
And he was so happy. He was so proud of that story. So listen, we got a great guest. Should we got anything else to say?
We do. We're gonna show a video clip of him in action, and here we go.
Here's a cookbook for you women that don't know how to cook and put the yellow pages in it. What do you want for dinner? Mexican? Japanese? It would work. It's a name tag for 7-Eleven employee. I got 11. Come on in. It is. You got to mail your taxes in. It's an envelope. Just walk right in the post office. You bastard. Shit. This is the Hooters job application right there. What do? Just fill it out and you're going to... This is redneck air conditioning. Damn, it's hot as shit out there. I know, the whole show is stupid as shit. This is what I come up with. The best day in auto racing is Memorial Day weekend. You get 2 races back to back. You get the Indy 500 and then a NASCAR race. You got to watch it like back to back. It's like 2 different breeds of people. The Indy guy. What happened to your car? Well, the incinerator in the pump valve caused a malfunction in the combustion chamber. We had to shut it go down. It's quite disappointed the whole team. Try better next week. You watch NASCAR. What happened out there? Some bitch done blowed up. Fuck, I don't even know.
Be a cowboy, baby. Save a horse, ride a cowboy. Red Solo Cup. I fill you up. Let's have a party. I done told you once, you son of a bitch, I'm the best that's ever been. He played Found a Man, Run, Boy, Run.
All right, so we're going to bring out our guest today, and I've known him for a really long time. He's one of the most successful, if not the best show in Vegas. He has kind of a grassroots kind of career, how he came up through the ranks. Not only is he funny, not only is one of a kind, he's also one of the nicest guys in show business, and we'll talk about that later. So let's bring out a good friend of ours, Carrot Top.
Yeah. What's happening, guys?
How you doing?
How are you guys? Good. I love that clip. That was a great clip.
Yeah, man, that was my favorite clip of you ever.
That was probably my favorite clip.
Yeah.
I like when the coach comes out to kind of encourage him. He just pushes them off. Like, I got it.
What was he's talking about that clip of him that we just saw.
Oh,
that was it was a memorable clip.
So, Scott, Carrot Top. Your name's up, so we can't call you Scott.
Yeah. You call me Scott.
Okay. So, you're originally from near Cocoa Beach, right?
Yeah, Cocoa, actually.
I live in Merritt Island.
Oh, gee, with them, we're definitely, we're right across, we had right there, yeah.
Right across the thing. And
that was the big town to go to Merritt Island to go to dinner, right? You leave Cocoa, you would go to Bennigan's, like, wow, we're going to Bennigan's. Like, that was it.
Wow.
It's the only restaurant we had.
now that's a sad story.
No, literally, it was at the Merritt Square Mall, like right across the street was Bennigan's. It was like a big, huge deal. We got a Bennigan's. Yeah.
Which isn't there anymore.
Probably not.
So so you're not in some big metropolitan area. So how did you get started in comedy?
It was a great question. I went to FAU, Florida Atlantic University in Boca Raton, after I left there, and I went down there, and I was a courier, like driving around all day long in a truck delivering bank reports. And on the radio, they had this thing called the 5 o'clock funnies, brought to you by, the Comedy Corner. And there was a comedy club in West Palm called the Comedy Corner. And I would listen to it every day. I would listen to the comics, and then I would drive right by it, like boom, there's, and they had this open mic night. So I went down there, and I didn't even perform. I just watched all these guys, and it was unreal. It's just like the magical thing of like, this is what I want to do. And then one time they had another open mic kind of thing, and I went down there. And at the time I was, I'd been thinking about doing comedy. I did like my college, that was the first time I ever went on stage, was in my little, my dorm mates went and watched me. And I just did I didn't do my joke. I didn't have jokes. I had a logo. I drew my logo before I had an act, but I had it all. I really did. I actually had a plan. I had a whole logo and everything, and a name and a brand.
Well, yeah, you knew you were going to be a success.
No, I honestly, it's not a joke. So I was thinking like the Rolling Stones had a logo and the Grateful Dead had a logo, right? So I had this logo, and my friend's like, "What's that? Is that for one of your classes?" And I said, "No, it's from when I become a comedian." And like, "You're a comedian?" I said, "No, but I'm gonna be." And I've got the logo. I got the hard parts over. So
hard part's done.
And so I went up in the club, and I put my little banner behind me. It's Carrot Top, and I went up there and I just told George Carlin jokes and whatnot. And I did great because they were George Carlin's jokes. And so how do you bomb with that, right? So I came off and like, wow, you were really funny. And I said, yeah. So I went down to the comedy club, the real comedy corner club. And I auditioned for this woman. And I'll never forget this. It was in the middle of the afternoon. She says, okay, go up and give me some of your act. And I went up there and I started doing, George Carlin's jokes. And she's like looking at me like, are you fucking this stupid? And then she said, she's like, stop, excuse me. Whose jokes are these? And I said, oh, I don't know. I think they're George Carlin's. And she's like, you can't do George Carlin jokes. And I said, you can't? They're really funny though. She's, no, I know that, but you have to do your own jokes. And I said, well, fuck, I don't know. Now it's hard. I don't know how to do this. So I went.
Have you seen my logo?
Yeah, I got my logo. And I even showed her. I said, but I have a logo. So I went back, and this is how the whole Carrot Top started. So I went back to my dorm that night, and I was bummed. I was trying to think of jokes, and my roommate said that crime. I had a neighborhood crime watch sign on my dorm, and my roommate said, that's funny. And I said, what? Because I stole the sign. He said, that crime watch sign, that's really funny. I said, it is funny, but what do you mean? And I used to always say, how good is their crime watch if they're not even watching their signs? So I went on stage with my first prop. It was that. I said, sorry, I'm late. I was out in the neighborhood, and I got a laugh. And I said, how good is crime watch if they're not even watching their fucking signs? And it killed. And then so I went down and auditioned, and she said, that's great. What else do you have? And I said, that's it. And she said, well, you got to have more than one joke. And I said, well, okay, maybe I'll steal some more signs. So I went around town, like literally Boca, West Palm, and I went and found any street sign that was funny. There was a whole bunch of them. I had like about 10 of them. One was like, said slow children at play, and the stick figure on the sign had no feet. And I said, well, no wonder they're slow. They don't have any fucking feet. So there was all these sign jokes, and it turned into like a little, 5-minute routine. And she loved it. And I ended up winning the contest. Like the first one I got into, I won with the little sign things. And then afterwards she came up and she said, do you have any more? And I said, I don't have any more signs. She goes, no, I think the sign thing's good, but you need more. Do you have any other things? And I said, no, but I'll think. I went back to my dorm again. And I don't know what happened. I was sitting there, and I remember the first prop. I said, there's a lot of old people in Florida, and you never can see their head when they're driving. So I just got a ball cap just like this, and I put an old lady's head on the top of it on a spring for old ladies to wear when they drove, so their head would go above the seat, and it boom, fucking killed. And it's Florida, right? So it hit home. And then I was like, okay, how about a ice tray with a level so you wouldn't spill the water when you bring it back to the freezer? And I just started writing all this weird shit, and then I had another 5 minutes, and then I went. And I kept winning these little things with the new bits. And then finally, I think one of my comic friends says, you could feature if you just build more shit. And I said, yeah, the more shit I had, the longer time I could do. So yeah, my goal is to be a headliner. So I'm going to build a lot of shit. And so I just kept building as many props as I could possibly be building until I could feature. And then one day they gave me the go ahead to headline at that exact club. So it was kind of cool that where I started doing comedy, I ended up a couple of years later actually headlining one of the nights. So it was really cool, really cool feeling.
Yeah, it's funny that you said that one. We started Eastside Comedy Club with Richie Minervini and Eddie Murphy. And when Rosie O'Donnell came in, right, she came in to audition and she just did the same thing. She just killed. And we're all looking at each other going, that's Seinfeld's act.
Oh, really?
And she did the same thing. And we
fun.
went up to her.
Joan Rivers did the same thing, too.
Well, we said, you can't do Seinfeld's act. And she goes, really? It's funny.
That's right. Exactly what I said. Well, they said, you really were funny. I said, well, no shit, because it's George Carlin.
Yeah. Well, here's a question I always wanted to ask you. Do you just remember your stuff, or do you look at the stuff and then you just go, well, I'm going to do that one, I'm going to do that one? Or do you have the original ordered in a certain manner?
Oh, yeah. It's in an organized order. Yeah, mess. I mean, it's all late. Every prop I know exactly where it's at. So it's kind of but I usually go pretty much know where I'm going to go, jump to this one to that one, and, move a lot. But then you add in like stand up, and then I have this big video wall, which is great because you can do another joke on the wall. So it's great. You do a couple props, and then you do a stand up, and then you do a story, and then you throw in a picture of, a Biden thing or whatever current joke is.
And you have an amazing sound guy. I mean, the sound effects are.
Yeah, we have a lot. Right? It's crazy.
It's a big production. I mean, it's not. I mean, how many to cart that whole act out of there? What is it? About 3 semis or something? It's
about a semi full.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot. It's a production. It really is, and it always started.
Is.
Yeah, it started back in the day when we were on the road more than I'm in Vegas now. But we did road shows. We had a full semi. We had pyrotechnics. We had ramps and it looked like a Motley Crue stage. It had fucking risers and this big flame cannons and people are like, what the fuck? But then when you see the show, it would make sense. Like
I remember when the flame cannon goes off and you're like, ah!
Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy. It was a full-on rock show. Yeah, it was great.
One of my favorite jokes, which I probably don't even have the wording right, is when you had the mask of the dummy, the car dummy, the safety dummy.
Oh, crash test
dummy. And you go and you pick up a hitchhiker and you put that on. You go, you better buckle up.
Yeah, I forgot what it was talking about. Yeah,
really made me laugh.
It was fun. Yeah, pick up hitchhikers. Yeah, hitchhikers with this thing on. Yeah, come on in, get in. Now you'll be fine. Yeah.
But I remember. Well, 1 second. I remember when I was working in Vegas. You had this big luncheon for like all the comics, which was so sweet. And John Mendoza said to me, "Have you ever seen your Carrot Top show?" And I go, "No, I haven't. I mean, we know each other, but I never saw the show." And he was like, he's like kind of like a purist, when it comes to comedy. And he's like, you got to see it. It's the best show in Vegas.
Well, that's very sweet. And
I went and I saw it, and then I think we saw it like three nights in a row. That's how good it was.
Wow.
Well,
that's definitely a huge compliment for a comic because I can watch something once, but if it's really good, if you come back more than once for a comic to see another comic, and I can see you 1,000 times, and it's always funny. It always looks original because you move so fast and you go through so much stuff.
Well, I have places to go. I mean, I got to get out of it. We had Amy Poehler came last night.
Nice.
Very, very sweet. I mean, just great. And speaking of that, when you perform in front of other comics, you always think, shit, I'll make this in. But the person that I was trying to think who that came to my show 2 nights in a row that shocked everybody was the band Queen. So they isn't that crazy? So they came and they it was such a great show that night. And they came back and they were like, "Fuck, man, that's such a good show, Scott." Yeah, and I said, "Yeah." And they're like, if you don't, no, Roger's the drummer. He was went outside to do something, and then Brian, the guitar player, says, "I don't want to be that guy, but you think it's possible if I can bring my son tomorrow?" And I said, "You want to come back tomorrow?" And he's like, "That's okay. I don't want to feel like." I said, "Fuck, are you? Yes, please come back again tomorrow." But he left, and my friend's like, the Queen's coming back twice. I said, and then here's what's funny, kind of taking it however way you want to take it. He brought his kid back, and it was a fucking great show again, right? It was just a great.
All right.
Sorry. And he says to me, I got to be honest with you. The reason I wanted to come back again, because I didn't think it had to be like a fluke. It couldn't have been that good. And like, that's how he said it though. And he said, but it was even better the second time. So I just remember driving home thinking that was too good. That can't be like that every night. And he came back and he said, okay, you got my wish. So, that was pretty cool, pretty stressful, but it was funny how he said, I thought it was kind of like a fluke,
Well, it's funny. When I was out in Vegas, I was there with my ex-wife, who is a dancer and a choreographer. So we had to see every dance show in Vegas. And she was like, yeah, the hell with the dancing. Carrot Top Show is the best show we saw.
Oh, nice.
Which was really amazing because, it's like she'll stop to watch people dance on the street.
Yeah, it's too bad Queen didn't come back the third night, because then I did eat shit that night. I do remember that.
Well, as soon as I can convince my wife that we're not going to die of COVID, man, I'm going to take a trip to Vegas and come and definitely check out your show again.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, please do. I'm going tonight, actually.
Are you still at Luxor? Going tonight?
Yeah,
You've seen it a lot.
And who's coming to the show tonight? This has been great. So this week has been fun. We had Steve-O.
Right.
Came last night or that night before the Name Polar, and tonight is Fred Schneider from the B-52s.
Wow.
Nice.
Isn't it cool. It's like Love Shack, baby? I mean,
I love that song.
I know.
Have him stand up and yell that out,
Right. Oh, I'm gonna fucking go out and stand and dance with him out in the middle of the crowd for sure.
Well, we have your website in the bottom of the page, but are you still a regular at the Luxor?
Yes, Luxor every night. Been there 17 years. Yep.
Oh wow, that's amazing. I wanted to ask you, do you ever swap out? Do you have the same show every night, or do you swap and mix and match? And
I do on Tuesday night. I do it all in French.
Nice. We.
Yeah, no, I don't ever swap out. But I have different chunks of the show. Like last night, I had a whole bit that I didn't do, and then I changed it in this bit, so I can kind of, I brought all the baseball jokes back. So the baseball segment is there. Took the hockey, I have a whole bunch of I call them chunks. So I'll take the chunk of hockey and the chunk of baseball and the chunk of NASCAR, and I can kind of move stuff around or do the political stuff if there's something, because the elections are coming up. I kind of touch a little bit on, Biden. I made a Joe Biden's dog. It's a dinosaur on a rope. It's pretty funny.
I just thought of what was one of the funniest things. One of the funniest things ever that I remember you doing was you'd come out with that huge backpack.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
He'd come out with this huge backpack. It was like the size of this room. And he goes, this is great when you go to the airport. You go, it's a laptop. It's an old one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, so you're only allowed one carry-on. So here's what you do. And they get on the bat with this. It's as big as a car. And you come out with it on. And then they excuse me, what's sir? Say, sir, you want? I said, it's a lap. It's an old one. Yeah, whatever it was. Yeah, it's an old laptop. I got to bring that. I should bring that one back. That's good.
That's really funny. Yeah, that was really, really funny. So I guess years ago, right? Like your career was kind of different, right? You kind of built up a following from colleges, right?
In the beginning, yeah. Before I got, in the beginning, it was like you said earlier on, a kind of grassroots kind of way marketing. I would just do so many shows all across the country. People would like word of mouth kind of thing, and then I started getting television, and then that's of course the power of television, as you know, is probably. So then it really started to take off because you get, I'd be on Regis and Kathy Lee, that morning, and then that night I'd be at, Notre Dame, and all the, the kids would see me, and then they go with their parents, and their parents said, "Who'd you see at the show?" We had Carrot Top, like, "Oh, we just saw him on Regis." So all the different people were kind of getting a taste of my act. So then, and then the more TV, of course, the better. And then I had this phone commercials for 3 years.
Oh, yeah, that was
wow.
And that was good for
right?
Yeah, AT&T. Yeah, collect.
Usually
calls.
TV spots help, but my shot on America's Most Wanted didn't do anything for my career.
Yeah, you used to have
the
chunk about the AT&T thing.
Right? Oh, I was on every 8 seconds, right? It was every second. I mean, there was not a person in the world that didn't recognize me, but it was not for my comedy. It was just for the AT&T. So people that knew me as a comedian would say, you know, there's fucking really are annoying commercials. And I said, I know. But it's not, you know, it's nothing I can do about it. So I'm at least I'm making a lot of annoying commercials, right? So I kept making more and more annoying ones. So at least they're new. And I was in a mall one time, and these people were so excited, like, "Oh my God, Carrot Top!" And I said, "Yeah, what are you doing here?" And I said, "I'm doing a show tonight down at the whatever theater." And they said, "A show? What kind of show? Like a phone, like a phone, yeah, like a phone show." And I said, "Yeah, it's a phone show. Yeah, it's a lot of dialing. Get there early."
Yeah.
And,
we're gonna even have some push buttons. It's gonna be great.
They had no idea that. I mean, legitimately had no idea that. I said, "No, I'm a stand-up comic." I'm like, "Oh my God, I thought you just liked phones a lot." And I was like,
Right. They'll never find those people. Will never find a theater.
Yeah, right.
So when I first met you, I think you were with Brad Greenberg, and he also had a bear or something, right?
A what?
He managed the boxing bear.
Oh, you're right. He did. I mean, I was in a good stable, wasn't I?
Yeah. Literally with a bear.
Yeah, Carrot Top and a dancing bear. I mean,
if you don't do well tonight, your lunch for the bear.
I think it was a boxing bear.
Let me tell you, you try following that fucking bear. He's good.
Two bears are shitting in the woods. All right.
You've been there 17 years. Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Yeah.
So you do you get any time off, or do you take?
No, my manager has a car payment. I do not ever get time off. No, I get a week off a month, and I go back to Florida. I still have my house there, so I do like.
Where
I
in
do
Florida?
In Orlando.
Right. Okay, that's right.
So I go 3 weeks here, a week in Orlando, 3 weeks here, a week in Atlanta. So I get my week off every month. So it's not bad. Not bad.
Cool.
Nice. So have you figured out how many shows you've done there?
Someone did the math. I goodness gracious, it's not. I don't know offhand, but it's a lot. We get 240 shows a year, but times 17, whatever that comes to. And then there's road shows, and also we still do some road shows. So there's a lot. Yeah.
I think that's the last time I saw you was at the King Center.
That's right. That was a great. Yeah, Melbourne. Yep.
Yeah, and it's like everybody in that theater you went to school with, or was a teacher.
Yeah, my teacher was there. Yeah, it was fun.
It's like a home.
Yeah, it was a hometown crowd. Yeah.
Yeah, that's always fun. Everyone always wants to come see. Whenever I go back, they're always, "Oh, you're doing a show? Are you doing a show?" But it's like,
Yeah.
Because they all want to get it. They all want to get in free.
Oh yeah, that never changes.
I guess people want to know too, like, how many things, like new things, you add, like in a month? Would you say
a new?
Yeah, like a new.
I try to add,
because I know you're always adding something
every day, almost something, even if it's just a new song or a new joke or a prop or even every day. Every day, I just added a thing with. I did the Joe Rogan podcast, and I remember just trying to embellish it. So I kind of embellished it a little bit, but it was true. They flew me to Austin. I did the whole joke because they flew me to Austin because he wouldn't fly here. So they flew me to Austin, right? Put me up. Spirit Airlines. I mean, thanks. And it gets to laugh. And I go, "Have you ever been on Spirit? They don't even give you a drink. They just open a can of soda and they would take a sip, pass it around."
Yeah.
So
wait till you
kind
have
of
to use the
shitting on Joe
bathroom.
Rogan's people, because it started when I did the podcast. I sat down and he says, what do you want to go? What do you want to do? And I said, "Well, don't you always drink?" And he says, "We could drink if you want to drink." I said, "No, I just thought you always drank with your guests, all my friends." They said, "What do you want?" I said, "Well, I brought my own Crown. I pulled like a little bottle of Crown." I said, "I got that from, you paid for it." I said, "My mini bar." So he's like, "What the fuck? You paid for it? Fuck." I pulled out like 6 of them. "Well, how many did you steal?" So I kind of embellished that, but yeah, it's fun. You can, with comedy, you can just kind of ad lib, and most of it is all really, honestly, the whole show is all, everything has happened. It's like real. It's not except embellishing that part of the story, but so it's something new every night. I just try to think what I added last night. What did I add last night? It was I don't remember. It was something about a baseball. The American baseball players were mittens.
Yep.
Have you seen that?
Yep.
Well, it looks fucking retarded, right? So they're going to steal second, and they got these big oven mittens on. So I have a picture of this guy getting ready to steal with these big oven mittens on. I said, God damn, look at that. What happened to baseball? And I said, did you see Martha Stewart trying to steal second yesterday? And it's Martha Stewart with this big cooking mittens. And this looks funny. So it's all, it's current stuff that happens in sports or happens in general. I have a Gallagher bit that is going to be outrageous. People
Smashing
all the
watermelons?
time, they always come up to me and say, we saw you, in the 70s in San Francisco at the state fair, and you got my husband's jacket wet, right?
Yeah.
And I said, first of all, you didn't see me in the 70s, how did I get your husband's jacket wet? And they go, when you started hitting all the watermelon shit, it all ruined my jacket. And I said, oh, I did that? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, the
Do you
fuck,
still
right?
roller skate?
Yeah.
Well, it's so funny because Gary told me, this is a story, Gary Proper told me that when he first met you, I think you were cutting his lawn or something. You were a kid.
I was.
And he was managing Gallagher.
Yep.
And he said you walked into his backyard with a suitcase and went, I'm funnier than Gallagher, watch. And he said, and you were.
Well, I remember I could have been where I had started. I remember, I was mowing his lawn, though. And then he let me go see Gallagher. He played in Melbourne somewhere. It was like a big, huge, skate fest.
Right.
And surfing expo, a skating expo. And he was the headliner, and I was blown away. I mean, just blown away. And something about Gallagher, I just fucking loved him. And that's when I was already trying to start, thinking about being a comedian. So I would kind of write some ideas. He invited me to a few shows, so I was standing with him, and he was trying to get to the backstage door of this venue, and he's banging on the door, and they wouldn't open. And he says, "Fuck!" And he's banging on the door, and a big stencil right above the door said, "This door must remain closed at all times." And I said to Gallagher, he's getting frustrated. I said, "Dude, they're not going. The door must remain closed at all times. Why is there even a door if it needs to stay closed the whole time?" And he looked at me and said, "Fuck, that's funny. Did you write that?" And I said, "Well, I just said it." And he's like, "That's a great fucking joke." So I said, "Can I say that I write for you?" He said, "Sure. If you write some more, sure." So I started writing all these little things that his kind of writing, that kind of stuff. And he dug it. He kept saying, "Keep them coming. Those are good." So when I remember getting myself into my own comedy, I definitely didn't want to copy Gallagher. So I did everything I could not to, all my props were not had anything to do with his style, but I definitely had a visual kind of take on what I wanted to do with props as opposed to what he did. His was a whole different kind of brand, but he was definitely an influence. I mean, big time. But this was in my Gallagher thing, so I ended that. So about 2, 3, 4 years ago, I can't remember now, Gallagher came to my show in Vegas, 3 nights in a row, literally free. And came back, right? And on the side of the stage, he sat right on the fucking side of the stage. 3 right. So I'm losing my mind. I'm so intimidated. This is,
Yeah.
And I remember killing, and I came off, and Gallagher goes, here's about 30 things you got to fix. And I'm like, I just fucking killed. I brought the house down, standing ovation. Yeah, but this you got to do. You just do. Anyway, so I'm like, okay, thanks. Take it with a grain of salt. So anyway, we hung out. Third night, I had this weird idea on the way in. I called my manager. I said, "Is Gallagher by chance coming down again?" "Oh, he's sitting here right now while we're setting up." I said, "Great." I pulled over. My buddy and I pulled over, and we got a watermelon, and I told we got a stool and a watermelon, and we went to my warehouse, and we used to have an old Gallagher mallet.
Right.
So I went in and I said, "Gallagher, you want to do something fun at the show?" And he's like, "What?" I said, "It's going to be great. I'm going to be out there, and I'm going to set it up perfectly, right? I'll talk to the audience about the lady in the front row. Is like, when are you going to hit the watermelon?" I said, "You're at the wrong fucking show, lady. I don't hit the watermelon." Jesus Christ. And then I looked over and said, "See if you can find a cantaloupe or a watermelon, if we can find it and make this lady happy." Setting it up again, I'm not going to hit So as the show progressed, I get done, the finale, I come out for my bow. I come walking out with a stool, put the stool down, put the watermelon on top of the stool. I got the sledgehammer, the whole crowd's going fucking ape shit. And right when I go to hit the watermelon, Gallagher comes out and grabs the watermelon and shoves me all across the stage. But he shoves me so hard, he's fucking not ficking around. I'm just like really mad. It's supposed to be a funny bit, but he's like, get at it. And I remember like falling, and the whole crowd's like, oh my God. And they're like, they're going crazy. It's fucking Gallagher. And we'll have to find it. I have it on video. It's so fucking great. And afterwards, I said, how great was that? Well, the crowd loved it. And he's like, what are you going to do with it? Just something you're making fun of me? Is gonna? I said, no, it's all about you. It's funny. You came out and took your act away from me. So we've become back friends. So I've now this bit that I'm doing is it's going to debut tonight. It's going to be this. I can't wait to do it. It's going to be this. My buddy, it took 7 months to build it. It's an actual bomb, right? It's a bomb inside of this box. So there's a watermelon, and when I hit the watermelon, it releases like just all this, not anything wet, but streamers and confetti. It's gonna look like it exploded. Strobe lights are going, and you hit it, it goes. It's gonna be a big thing, but it's like homage to Gallagher. So then I'll get sued. Sued.
How's he doing? I mean, I'm only friends with him on Facebook, but I mean, I know he was having some health issues.
Yeah, I heard the same thing. He texted me back the other day about something. I think I'd said something to one. Well, I need you to come back to Vegas and help me fix my act. And he said watch. All he said was watch Joy Coy.
You know what I wanted to ask? When I first started doing comedy, I started doing props, and I want to preface by saying I've always loved prop comics. It's one of my favorite things ever, and I started doing it, and I had a little bit of success. I only had one suitcase, and people constantly come up to me, club owners, other comics, saying, "Dude, you can't do props. That's lazy. That's BS. That's this and that." And I never understood that because I think it takes way more.
No, that's guitar guys.
What was that?
That's guitar guys.
Oh yeah. Man. No, but I was like, I love prop. I think it takes a lot more intelligence and a lot more ingenuity to do that. And I was wondering, did you ever face anything like that during your career? Because you certainly showed them what was what.
Oh shit! I was the punching bag for years. Oh my God! There were clubs that wouldn't book me just because I did props. They were just like, wow. You're not our. I said, you had Amazing Jonathan. Man, he does magic, but he does fucking props.
Did you ever run into the legendary Wid?
Absolutely, know the Wid very well. Yeah, I knew what's his name, Rip Taylor.
Oh my God!
Wow.
He hated me, like full on hated. He
really.
Oh yeah, he said he went on Comedy Central and said Carrot Top stole my act. I mean, just blatantly said I took his act.
Why the hell would he say that? I mean, if anything, he was maybe just trying to attach his name to yours to get a little bit of, get a bump.
I've never seen you throw confetti into a crowd. Never.
Well, that's what we did. It's funny you should say. So here's what we did. So it was on Jon Stewart, right? So I got a hold of Jon Stewart. I said, hey, can I come on and rebut his comment? And they said, absolutely. Great. So I went to a comedy club in Orlando. I wasn't even working. I had a club. And I said to the comics there, can you guys do me a favor? I just want to record a real quick bit. And the guy's like, yeah. So I had the whole crowd in on it. So they announced me, please welcome Carrot Top. And I had a bucket of confetti. And I went through and I go, ow, ow, ow. And I did basically Rip Taylor, right? And then I went on Jon Stewart and I said, this is me at my show last night. You tell me if anything. If this resembles, and we showed the clip, and I'm doing, oh, you crazy people! It was great. John's like, I don't see it. I said, I don't either.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
It's funny you talk about how he had to give you advice. I used to open for Jay Leno, and Jay would go like this. He'd get all done with the show, and he'd go, all right, so here's what you have to do. He goes, take the end of your act, your finale, and open with it. Then get rid of the other stuff from that point on, and then it'll force you to write new stuff. It's like, yeah, okay, I just worked to get to this point.
Yeah.
I'll just throw everything away and start all over again.
I never got good advice from any of legendary. I met Kinnison once, and I said, can you give me advice for a young comic? He said, yeah, date waitresses. That was his advice. And then I did a movie with Martin Landau. So I'm asking him, I said, can you give me some advice for an actor? And he puts his arm around me. This was cool. We're in Universal Studios, and he puts his arm around me. He goes, look around. He goes, you're doing okay. And I'm like, all right, that doesn't help me, but but it was Martin Landau. What are you going to do?
How cool was it that George Carlin put your name in a joke?
Fucking really, you know what? I forgot. That's the one I've been playing. I need to bring that back. I used to play it in my show. Yeah, it was great. He said, yeah, you get on the airlines and they always ask you, did you pack your bags yourself? No. Carrot Top packed my bag. It's fucking great.
Yeah. I mean, that was great. When I heard that, I was like, oh, how cool.
Yeah,
is
no,
that?
I was, and so was I. I was like, oh my God, that was like, I can retire. That was pretty cool.
Can I? Did you ever have a bit you worked out that you worked real hard on and you put it on stage and you loved it, but it just didn't translate? Has that ever happened to you?
There's thousands of them. Literally,
that happens to
everybody. My warehouse has a shit ton of stuff that just for some reason just never. But there's and there's not that many, but there's been a few that have shocked me where I'm laughing while I'm making it, thinking this is gonna be so great, and it just It just didn't but it's some that don't work. There's some that would work on TV and that won't work in the live show. One was an ashtray. It was an ashtray with a baby bottle on it, so women could feed their baby and still have smoke break. And it would only work on the TV because they'd see it, I guess. But in the theater, maybe they didn't translate. But there's a lot of like any comic, probably just piles of shit that never worked.
Oh man, my favorite jokes, the ones that I love the most that I've written, never go over with the audience. Like I've been talking about my son when he's a baby and all the things you can do with him. As my favorite game to play with him is always, and I tap the microphone. I go, find the soft spot, and they look at me like I'm, just what a fucking monster. But it's like it's a comedy show. It never goes over.
That's hilarious.
That was like the joke that I used to love that no one laughed at. I come from a long line of show business people. My uncle was an Elvis impersonator. He wasn't actually. He was just fat and died of a drug overdose. But that's what I tell the neighbors.
That must maybe spit coffee.
That didn't work.
It doesn't work because
that's
it's
hilarious.
Like, it's like originally it works now, but originally it was like my father was an Elvis impersonater, and I think it's a dead father joke. But as your uncle, it's just weird. Yeah, it's just. So one word.
So is Vegas back? I mean, like I said, I've been like COVID freaking whatever. Are your shows full? Is Vegas full?
We've been full for a while actually. Yeah, last night we were full. It's been good.
And Vegas in general, like when you're traveling around, is it crazy packed, like back to what it was?
I mean, it's back to normal. Yeah, everything seems to be back to normal. There's a steady. I mean, the strip's good. The rooms we had big conventions are back. So yeah,
cool,
the hockey games all the hockey games have been sold out. So it's
I'll be hitting you up for some free tickets soon. Anyway, no.
Yeah, let me.
How big a warehouse do you have?
It's pretty big. It holds a lot of unfunny shit. It holds a lot of unfunny shit. I have it's funny because I just did a joke in the show. It's just an old prop. I mean, like when I first started, 1980 something. It was a big bag of Coke, like fake bag. It's all laundry detergent, right? But it looks like a big bag of Coke. And the story in Oregon just broke not too long ago. It's legal now to walk around Oregon with cocaine in your pocket. So I tell the story. I said, now you can actually walk around Oregon with cocaine in your pocket. No straw, but that's the law. It's a whole law. Like you can have the actual. You can't have the device.
Saving trees.
Yeah. So anyway, the whole bit. So I do the thing. I said I'm going to walk around the airport tomorrow. Then I hold the bag. I'm trying to find Portland. It's like gets a huge laugh, but it's just a bag of Coke. And then I say this part is the part of this makes me laugh. This used to be a different joke way back when I started, and I was going to the Bahamas. And this is all true, right? So the guy says, what I told first I said I knew I had a big bag of Coke in my warehouse. So I said to my crew, hey, there's a big bag of Coke in my warehouse. If you guys could, guys, they're all, not real Coke. So they find it, they bring it back. It's not real Coke, but looks like it. And I'm going to the airport, right? And the guy says, what's in the box, man? I said, props. He's like, what's props? And I said, they're jokes. I'm playing the comedy club. He says, you mind opening the box? I said, no. And I opened the box. And right as I opened up the box for him to start digging through all my stuff, I see that bag of Coke. And I'm like, oh, my God. And he pulls it out. First thing he pulls out, he goes, what is this, man? And I was like, it's just laundry soap. He's like, okay, have a good flight. Are you fucking kidding? It would be like $1 billion with the Coke.
That's almost an insult. That's almost an insult. He looked at you. He looked at the coke. He was like, "No, you couldn't afford. You couldn't afford this much coke."
It's so funny, those people. I was telling these guys, I was doing this like theatrical seance, and I had all these like weird props, like the content. And so I'm going to the airport, and the guy opens my suitcase, and he goes, "Sir, can you tell me what this is?" I go, "Equipment." And he goes, "For what?" And I go, "I contact the dead." And he goes like this. He goes, "Okay."
and I help him.
It's just like I don't know. I just didn't think he wanted to be involved.
No,
that's funny.
You still hitting the gym, man?
A little bit.
There you go, baby.
Yeah, I mean, I hit not like I used to, but I run and I still, just keep in shape, keep brain lean. Not like I was. I was a monster for a bit. So
I don't run, I limp, but I've been hitting the gym 4 or 5 times a week.
I've been to the gym 16 times in the past 7 days.
No, you've been with Jim 6 or 7 times.
Nice.
Sorry.
Stop, Craig.
Actually, my joke was going to be because I drive rideshare, and it's a very popular place to drop people off.
You ever see that meme with a woman on the couch and she's like crying, like kind of old fashioned, and she goes, I can't believe it. I missed the gym again today. And she goes, 16 years in a row.
16 years in a row. I'm heading there after this, man. I'm going to go work out because I've been posting. I've been working out, getting ready for Carrot Top, man. I got to. Yeah.
Now, we talked about jokes that didn't work. Now, since we started with baseball, I had a joke I did. This is about 1990, 1991 that never worked, and I thought it was great. And I just would come out and go, Lou Gehrig died of Lou Gehrig's disease. What are the odds of that?
But here's a question, Craig. When a joke doesn't work in your act, how do you know?
Huh? Oh, damn.
Is that mean?
When I tell it to your mom at night, she laughs.
So,
Oh, my God.
I had to go to your mom. I had to.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Well, as long as you wait in line, she don't mind. Try to cut the line, you're going to get an old Jewish lady slap.
So it must be nice. It must be nice for you with the amount of stuff that you have, just to be in one place forever.
Oh yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, it couldn't happen to a better guy. All that shit I have. I mean, all the shit I have. I'm so lucky to be the guy that just to stay and put. Because when I first started, people would say that to me. They'd say, "You're going to carry all this shit around the country your whole career?" I said, "No, I'll have people carry it around."
There you go.
Right. Well, I remember I followed the WID once on like a tour down south, and by the end of the tour, I had a whole other suitcase of his crap that I found behind a curtain or whatever, and I'd call him up and I go, listen, I found a giant coin. I found this. I go, could you mail it back to me? I've been looking for that.
When I opened for the WID, I would come on after him to say goodnight, tip your waitresses, and there was so much stuff.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah.
I used to, but I would step on. I hear it cracking. I'm like, I'm breaking his stuff, but he didn't seem to mind. I guess. Whatever.
Well, nobody deserves all that success more than you, man. You deserve to be in one. You're making them a fortune, and I'm sure your show is probably the best show in Vegas. And I'm sucking up because I really do want some free tickets. No, I'll pay for them. I'll pay for them. I'm just kidding. I don't want to be one of those guys. No, I want free tickets.
I would love to have you guys come though. That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you had like, from what I remember, you had like an amazing T-shirt sales too, right?
Oh yeah, I think I got one on now. I got one on now. There's a Carrot Top one.
Oh, there you go.
Very cool.
Yeah.
you know that there's a Carrot Top American flag company?
Yes, I do know that. I know every Carrot Top thing out there, and the
only reason I know this, I was looking for an email before, and I put in Carrot Top, and it came up Carrot Top Flag Company. It's like, what?
I don't know. The one that got me was that there's whoever owns Carrot Top for the Instagram, Twitter, and all that is not me. I have to go by Real Carrot Top or Carrot Top Live. So we've contacted the person that owns Carrot Top, just Carrot Top, and they're not even using it. They're not even actively using it. So I'm like, I'll buy it. Let me have it. So we're waiting to see if we can get that.
Let me know if you don't get it, because if you want, I'll go down and I'll talk to the guy. I got no problem.
Right?
I'll get it for you. I'll get it for you. You know what I'm saying?
Send the guy.
You don't want to know how because you need that plausible deniability, but I will get you what you want.
Yo, man.
That's funny.
My daughter told me to say hello to you.
Oh,
I
good.
I guess when she was in NYU, she came with a couple of people, and you had shots on stage with her to me, which
nice.
which is very cool.
Oh.
She goes, it made me feel like such a big shot in front of my friends.
Oh, that's good.
We're all trying to ride John's daughter's coattails. She's very successful. She's writing movies and TV shows, and we're definitely trying to get in those good graces.
She's the hot ticket right now. She's had 2 very successful Broadway plays and
oh wow,
a bunch of movie deals, and so
for her.
Very cool. Very cool.
Awesome.
Very cool. Well, I think we're almost out of time, right, guys?
Yeah, we are. We're close. But before we go, maybe you can name the weeks and nights and show times for people.
Yeah, we're pretty much at the Luxor every night but Sunday. You can look at my schedule on carrottop.com if they want to find what weeks I'm off. And then we're going on the road in January in California for a few stops, and then back to Vegas for the rest of the journey. So, yeah, pretty much we'll be at the Luxor for most of the years.
Awesome.
Very cool. Hey, man, this was one of the most fun shows, man. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks, guys.
It was great. It was great
Appreciate
seeing
you guys.
It was great seeing you again.
You too. Well, cheers, guys. Be safe out there.
All right.
And tonight I get to sing to the Love Shack, baby.
Yeah.
Love Shack.
Tin roof.
Rusty.
Tin roof.
Yeah. My big is a whale, and it's about to set sail.
Love Shack, baby.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I got to dance whenever that comes on. It's very awkward when I'm driving, though. But still.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for doing the show.
Man.
We really, really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
All continued success.
Likewise.
Thank you so much.
And we will see you in Vegas for sure.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Cheers.
Thanks, Scott. Bye.
Thank you, buddy.
Bye.
Wow, that was great. That was really great.
That was one of the most fun shows we've done, man. What a great guy.
That was great. What a great guest.
So many stories.
Man, that's some gig, man. 17 years in the same spot. Wow.
Really?
I know. Really, that would be pretty cool.
It's like a real job.
You know what, though? The truth is, though, he deserves it. It's like I'm sure that people come to see him, and he makes a lot of money for them. You know,
the show is incredible.
Yeah,
it's just the size of it. It's like going to a rock show.
Hey, I'm not even kidding, man. I'll tell you, if I can talk my wife into it, I would definitely. Vegas is 3 hours, man. I'll take a drive, and I'll definitely go, and I'll even pay for the tickets because No, actually, Craig, I'm going to get his email from you so that I can email him for some.
He would get mad if you paid for the ticket.
Then I'll get his email and I'll ask him for some comp.
He just sent an email. Hold on. Tell Mike and John, thank you very much. I had a great time being on the show, and you're paying full price. There you go. So,
you know what the truth is, though. You're right. He might be insulted, but I would because he's that good. I wouldn't even mind paying to see him. So
yeah, but if you pay to see him, then you won't get to see him. If you talk, and then you'll get to see him after.
No, listen, I'm a cheap bastard. Trust me. If he'll comp me some tickets, I'll take them.
Oh, that was great. That was really great.
That was a hell of a lot of fun. It really was.
Yeah, and he's like such a friendly, nice guy, man. So,
and the fun continues because next Thursday, or next Friday, sorry, we have Adam Ferrara.
Oh,
that's going to be fun, man. Boy, there's a lot of history there.
Oh yeah.
God, we've all known Adam for what, 25, 30 years?
Oh yeah. I worked with him at a ground round when he had 5 minutes.
Him and Kevin used to hang out together all the time. Kevin James.
Isn't it amazing, all the guys from Long Island, that we were all such a tight-knit group?
My ex-wife used to call him Laurel and Hardy.
What James and Kevin and Adam?
Kevin and Adam.
Oh yeah, man. Well, they shot. I mean, in the 90s, man. We started kind of at the same time, and I thought I was doing good, and they just exploded, and I realized, okay.
Well, I was in England, right? With
England.
I was in England, and with my ex-nephew, I guess you would say. And we were watching TV, and he goes, "Hey, have you ever seen this show?" And I go, "What?" He goes, "It's American Top Gear."
No.
And they turn it on, and it's Adam Ferrara.
And it's Adam, yeah.
And I go, "Oh my God, It's a friend of mine. He's going, no way. And I go, yeah.
Aren't you always shocked though when you see a friend of yours and like I'll see Adam or somebody in a movie or on a TV and you go, what a great actor.
But in another country, it was even funnier.
But the true story, 1997, I'm in the movie theater. I think I was with a friend. I don't know if I went, and I'm watching Liar, Liar.
Liar, Liar.
Yeah, watching Liar, Liar, and Jim Carrey cuts off a truck. And outside the truck is Mike. And he said, I forget what he said.
I was in the truck. I'm like, what's your problem, schmuck?
And I stand up and go, it's Mike. And everybody's like, what the hell?
That's a funny story connected to that. I mean, like, first of all, the audition. It's one line. What's your problem, schmuck? I go for this audition, and I swear to God, there's at least 200 guys there. They walk in. What's your problem, schmuck? You know, when they walk out, I don't see them, but I walk in, and obviously the New York, the whole. I don't know how the hell I got it because it was one. What's your problem, schmuck? Among a million. But anyway, to do the line when we did this in downtown Los Angeles, I got to hang out with Jim Carrey for whatever. It was great, and when I do the line, I got to stick my head out of the van and yell, "What's your problem?" And like 3 times, I smacked my head on the side of the van because when you're into it, I'm acting, I'm there. It's not like I'm thinking and boom, I smear. And he just would laugh his ass off. He just came over every time and he goes, "That's the take we're going to use." He goes, "Fucking, it smashed my head." When I
was on Boston Legal, I had Monica Potter, who is beautiful. If you don't know who she is, she looks like a blonde Julia Roberts.
Mr. Potter's niece. The richest man in town. Mr. Potter's niece.
Yeah, that's who it is. But anyway, she walks by and I'm in jail. I'm a biker guy. I had tats and everything. And the line I had to do, because I improv'd it in my audition, they said, you got to do that when we film. I'm like, okay. Was I had to snort and go, ever do it hog style to her. Right. And we shot it like 3 times and they went, okay. And she turned around and she went, hog style? And I went, got me the part. She went, oh, good for you.
That's so funny is that was your line, because my only line in Writer PI was almost the same line. I go, what's your problem, dickweed?
Thank you. You've been a great crowd. Try the veal,
What's your problem, dickweed?
I joke with my wife because I've done some good show. I've done some incredible shows, and then I've done some where only get 1 or 2 lines, and so I always laugh whenever I get a part, and it's or we're watching somebody else. And they do like this one line, and it's funny line, and they get a great line. I go, that's the Mike Grief part.
Well, my favorite thing that I just always remember you is that scene on Home Improvement when you're in jail.
Oh, in jail, right?
The funny thing about that too is that was an improv because they had first of all, that started as me being a pickpocket. Right. I read that line and it was a pickpocket, and he goes, well, you don't look like a pickpocket. And I pull out his wallet and I go, hey, but good, ain't I? That was the whole part. It was 2 lines. They liked me so much when I auditioned for it because I was just messing around and having fun. And you got to remember, I don't have a resume at that time. That was the first big show I'd ever done. And you got to have balls to walk in. And Tim Allen the show was like the #1 show in the country, the whole thing. And I'm over there, I do this thing and I'm like, I go, yeah, Tim and Al, this is whole whatever. And just they're cracking up and they're like, leave that.
Guys, we're out of time here. We have to say goodbye.
All right.
Farewell, fare thee well, fare thee well.
All right. Well, I hope you guys had a good time, and we'll see you next week with Adam Ferrara.
Yes.
And we're on Roku channel, the Strong Island Entertainment. Get the app.
Nope.
And we're on
there you go.
StrongIsland.com.
And thanks again to Carrot Top.
Regular website, which is www.thebbbbradio.com. You can see us on YouTube. And special thanks to a great guest, Carrot Top. And let's have it for Mike Grief.
Yay!
And Craig Mitchell, who gave us a heart attack early this morning. And I'm John Ferrantino. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Bye.
Peace out.
Ha ha ha!